Thousands of American soldiers alongside Canadian soldiers and indeed British soldiers landed on those beaches in 1944, turning the tide of that war. And it is an annual commemoration that is made at Arlington National Cemetery, really the big national focus point for Memorial Day and all those other American occasions. It sits just across the Potomac River from Washington, D.C. It's right next to where the Pentagon sits. And you can see it across there from the Lincoln Memorial and other famous sites.
There's the wreath that the Prime Minister will be placing at this tomb of the unknown soldier. A moment of reflection there. And, of course, this is also where John F. Kennedy's remains are, with the eternal flame as well. It's a place of pilgrimage for many Americans.
It's a place of pilgrimage. It's a sacred place. In fact, there's a story about the original setting of the Pentagon. It was meant to be far closer to the cemetery, and it ended up being moved because it was not deemed to be appropriate to have so much construction near this vast, sweeping, important cemetery, and indeed place of national reflection, place of national mourning. Interestingly, the reason why the Pentagon is shaped as a pentagon is due to the road structure in just by the side of this.
Well, apologies
this
for our camera here. That clearly we have a few difficulties with the picture. Let's obviously reflect with Tom here in the studio that we saw the US Marines there presenting arms. The red carpet has been rolled out for the Prime Minister, it does seem, in this particular visit, because you were reflecting earlier that he's met Biden at the G7 and the other various international forums. This is very much bilateral talks this time around.
It is indeed. Now, the previous time that the Prime Minister went across to the United States, landed in San Diego, of all places.
Down in California.
Down in California for the AUKUS Pact. That was a trilateral meeting with, of course, the Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, as well as Joe Biden. This is Rishi Sunak's first independent solo trip to the United States to sit down one-on-one with Biden for the purpose of just those two meeting.
The last time we saw them sitting down one-to-one was a rather awkward occasion in Dublin, where they were sharing that cup of tea in a hotel. There wasn't much being said, and there was a little bit of well, not fallout, but certainly observation about the signals being sent by Biden on the whole issue of Northern Ireland and, of course, Britain's involvement in the peace process.
Absolutely. It was a short meeting. It was billed by the White House as an informal discussion, which perhaps more people had been holding out on this side of the pond for something that was more deep and a formal bilateral. Of course, there have been formal bilaterals between these two men, particularly at the G7 and at the G20. There's also been sideline discussions at the United Nations as well.
No,